7 reasons why Apple is shifting iPhone production from China to India. In 2022, Apple made 232 million iPhones in China, but another 6 million were made in India, and the factory complex in India is expanding fast. Meanwhile, production in China is shrinking. Apple is planning to manufacture 25% of all iPhones in India by 2025. Here's why. 1. Possible Taiwan invasion. U.S. intelligence agencies published an assessment recently. It reports Xi Jinping's instructions to his military. They must be prepared to invade Taiwan by 2027. President Biden has said the U.S. would defend Taiwan. A war with China would have disastrous consequences. Apple doesn't want to be caught in the middle. India is shielded from China by the Himalayas. 2. Chinese supply chains are unreliable. COVID lockdowns in China were brutal. One of Apple's factories had to shut down. The company struggled to meet the demand. This led to a shortfall of iPhones during the 2022 holiday season. Weeks-long wait times scared away customers. The Indian government is seen as more reasonable. 3. U.S.-China trade war. Apple insists the trade war doesn't play a major role. However, it is certainly affecting supply chains. The U.S. government has cracked down on Chinese tech. Here's just one example. In October 2022, the Department of Commerce issued new restrictions. It prohibited American companies from dealing with Yangtze Memory Technology Corp. Yangtze is a major Chinese chip maker. Apple was in talks with it to supply iPhone parts. After the restrictions, the deal fell apart. 4. India's import tariffs on electronics. India has its own trade barriers, but it's also a very attractive market. The base model of a Chinese-made iPhone costs $799 in the US. In India, despite its geographical proximity, it's $980. It's a lot more profitable for Apple to sell Indian-made phones in India. India represents 5% of Apple's market share. 5. Chinese politics. China is a notoriously centralized state. Under Xi Jinping, this is having unintended consequences. Political cronyism favors businesses close to the Chinese Communist Party. Xi has installed CCP members in corporations. His government has prioritized state-run firms. This naturally spooks the private sector. It also makes China less attractive for foreign investment. 6. China's labor force is shrinking. China's population is on the decline, but India's is growing bigger and younger. By 2100, China may lose half of its population. That results in an aging population with fewer laborers. In 1990, China had just 5% of people aged 65 plus. Now that number is 14%, and it could surge to 30% by 2050. Beijing and Shanghai have the world's lowest birth rates. Working-age adults now have to support their parents. China's median age is 38, while India's is only 28. That translates to cheaper labor costs. 7. Indian incentives for foreign companies. India's PM Narendra Modi has announced ambitious plans. He wants India to replace China as the world's factory. The Indian government offers various incentives. Tax breaks are available to foreign corporations. A $6.6 billion plan was launched to encourage electronics manufacturers. Apple is set to be one of the biggest benefactors.